works here. All right, we're going to try it again. I recorded earlier, and like a dum dum, I did not bring my charger into my studio. So I was unaware of my battery, and all of the things plugged into my laptop were consuming mass amounts of power. My battery for my MacBook Pro kind of sucks already, so it died. Anyway, so I had to go in the last almost perfect broadcast, not at all, but that was technically my first live broadcast through Ecamm Live. So I basically had to wait, get my charger, recharge my laptop, bring it in here, plug it in so it doesn't die again. And then I realized my extension cord has a short in it. So all that's to say is if you happen to have been tuning in earlier and you saw it and then all of a sudden it went away, yes, I'm what my kid would call a noob when it comes to this stuff, and I'm figuring it out. And apparently, I need way more monitors and technology than I currently have available to me. So I will do this better. I will get better on this streaming thing. But anyway, and none of that makes sense if you're coming in, tuning into this for the first time. You're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Anyway, I'm Steve Harper with The Ripple Effect. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out the stream. It's probably going to be one of those situations where you're probably checking it out after I've posted it, but that's okay. I wanted to talk to you today about something that's been on my mind. A few days ago, I happened to have been doing some videos, which, by the way, if you check out my channel, just do a search for Steve Harper right there or The Ripple Effect and you'll find me. This is a keynote that I did, kind of a cool one. My son I recorded it, my son edited it, but I actually had suggested on this video right here that you should check on the people that are unusually quiet. And I didn't realize just how impactful this video was going to be. Now, it says there are only 9 views, but I know that can't be because I reposted it to Facebook and some other places, and people watched it in much bigger numbers because I heard from way more than 9 people. But there was one particular person that I heard from today that I wanted to share because it was a great reminder. Now, this is not a training, and I'm not a big PowerPoint guy per se, but I will just say that I decided I was going to put together this little slide as kind of a visual reference point for us to have our conversation today. So I'm going to pop that up there. Boom. Yeah, there we go. So let me set the groundwork. In that video that I just kind of showed, feel free to look for it. Steve Harper, The Ripple Effect on YouTube. You can find it. And I wrote a book called The Ripple Effect, Maximizing the Power of Relationships for Your Life and Business. And I'm all about connecting. I'm all about helping people realize the power we hold to connect and make an impact on another person, both personally and professionally. And during the course of this video, a teacher who follows me, I'm very fortunate to have a lot of teachers that follow me and utilize my ideas in their classrooms to either connect with their students or to spread a culture of rippleness, if you will, around their classroom, mutual respect, trust, connection, looking beyond the surface to engage. So this particular teacher has followed me for a while, and she reached out to me and she said, Steve, I've got a pretty amazing story to tell you about 3 ripples that I created. Now, she's very active and engaged with her school, and she does a fantastic job. But apparently, she had her eye on 3 specific teachers that when she saw that video, she was like, these are the 3 that I need to reach out to. And the first teacher is a teacher that she has been friends with for a number of years. And she recognized on their team, I guess, team calls that they have with the teachers for that school on Zoom, she was suspiciously quiet, and she's not usually. And she actually looked a bit sad, and that caught my friend's attention. So she decided she'd pick up the phone, as I suggested, because it's about reaching out and connecting. When you check on your people, it's either by phone, it's by text, it's by carrier pigeon, it's by text. I already said text. It's by email, it's by checking in socially, but you're checking on them. And again, as I kind of recommend here, they need to hear from you, especially now in today's world where we're so isolated, how you can feel completely alone in a family of 4. feel depressed, scared, uncertain, not sure if you have the wherewithal to talk through what's going on internally with the people that are around you every day because they have their own stuff going on, right? So either they don't understand your world or your stress level, or maybe it's anxiety inducing, which creates a bad dynamic when you're stuck in a house with the same people, or you're not anywhere close to family and you're by yourself in your apartment or your house. You're away from your neighbors, your friends, right? Everybody's going through it right now. But anyway, when you reach out and you check on these people, it makes a difference. And the question I suggested in the video was, you don't need an excuse other than the fact that I was thinking about you, right? I was just thinking about you. That's your excuse for picking up the phone, sending a text, dropping an email, whatever. And she did this with this particular teacher, and she had no idea the can of worms that she was opening up when she did it. A good can of worms, by the way, but a can of worms nonetheless. This teacher said, "Yeah, I'm going through a bit of a sad period right now." She said, "Well, what's going on?" She said, "Well, right before the quarantine, my husband had told me that he wants a divorce, and then the quarantine happened. So they haven't talked to family. They haven't really talked to lawyers. They don't know what those next steps are. But then now you're stuck in a house with the person who really doesn't want to be there. And she has really been at wit's end. She hasn't relayed this information to any of her family, so she can't share there. She has not been able to truly communicate with her friends because they wouldn't quite understand. And she really wants to be face to face with a number of these people when she talks through it. And you understand that, right? You get that. And then here is my friend calling her just out of the blue, and it just came forth, right? It was an emotional conversation. It was a challenging conversation. But as my friend indicated, who's been through a divorce, this was something that she had experience in. And she understood the feelings and she understood the frustration and the scaredness that this person is going through right now. And she could be there for her. And that is a powerful ripple. Then she said, I checked on another teacher who's one of these gung ho kind of guys, Mr. Jock athlete kind of guy. And he too has been suspiciously quiet on our calls. And he's generally the first one with these great ideas. And they've done some teacher happy hours. And though he's been there, he's not really contributed. Just feels like he's kind of putting in the time, but not really participating. So she reached out by phone. And it turns out this conversation happened at the right time for him as well, because this guy is really struggling with some depressiveness. And he revealed to her that he has and takes medication for being a depressive individual. Depression is something he's fought his entire life, but it's been compounded by this particular situation of being isolated. And it's especially challenging for him because he has elderly parents that are clear across the other side of the country, and they're not technically paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing about social distancing. So that stresses him out because they're not really listening. They're not, necessarily taking the necessary safety precautions, and that's wigging him out. And he has a sibling that he's not real close to. And the brother, when he has tried to talk to him, is not all that game or open to trying to, communicate. And so this has compounded that, feeling of depression that he is really running through. And just the fact that she said, "Hey, how can I help you?" just opened up a tremendous line of communication between them. And she said it just felt like she really had given him a virtual shoulder to cry on at the right time and at the right moment. And that was important to her. So that was another great ripple that she shared. And then she said the third one was a young lady that's fairly new to the teaching profession that really struggled early on. And she took her under her wing, kind of mentored her. But she seemed scattered and a little bit anxious and nervous. And she could tell this. And so she reached out and she said, what's going on? I was thinking about you. I hadn't talked to you one-on-one in a while. How's it going? And what I need to share is that this teacher really was struggling early on in the semester, early part of the school year, to really connect with her kids. Being a new teacher, it was very tough and difficult. She wasn't thinking she was doing it right. And then they found their rhythm right around Christmas. And then as they came back from their Christmas break or holiday break, they were really kicking into high gear, and she was really feeling good about where she was as a teacher. And then the quarantine happened, and her class, the kids that she focuses on, they struggle with technology. They struggle. Their parents are economically challenged in some capacities, and they have a plethora of issues. And she feels like she's seeing a lot of kids that were making such great strides backsliding, and she's taking it personal, and it's really tough. And then to compound that, she's really struggling with the online platform that the school district set up for them. And she's not comfortable with technology, never has been. Now she's being asked to do these video conferences with the kids. The kids are at an age where there's a lot of challenges controlling them and getting them to focus. And so she's having a hard time doing that through this kind of device electronically. And then she's being asked to put in extra time to spend with their parents so that they can do more with the kids. But it's the parents that are really struggling themselves with what the future holds. Many of them have been laid off. Many of them, school is the last thing that they can think about. I realize I just put this slide up here, and I'm covering it with my ugly mug. Bear with me 1 second. I am going to see if I can fix this somehow. I apologize about that. Let's push this over there, and let's do this. Now let's go back here. All right, let's see if this works. Live television, I guess. I don't know. So, anyway, hopefully you can see that. But at any rate, she's struggling because they're struggling, and she's taking that personal. And when my friend reached out, she said, I just never in a million years would have thought that I could have contributed to each of them by checking on them and asking how I can help. And how at this moment in time, how the stress and tension that we're all going through right now is more palatable than it ever has been. And it just takes you opening yourself up to have a conversation and to offer to be that sounding board, another set of eyes, another set of ears, a virtual shoulder to cry on, just being there, whether it be for family, friends, your professional colleagues, people that depend on you for your personal and professional success, whoever that is. When you open it up and you do that, then amazing things happen. The reason I think that this probably really makes such a huge difference to me is I personally have experienced it as well this past week. Without going into too much detail, because I don't want to, necessarily feel like I'm betraying a confidence, but I had a really successful entrepreneur, at least successful on the surface, confide in me that he was struggling in a big way prior to the stay-at-home order. And they had a round of funding that they were depending on in the first quarter to come through that got put on hold, hopefully just on hold, and will come through when life returns back to normal. But these were things that he's made commitments to leverage and to take next big steps in his venture, and feels like that he can't go back, and he feels like he is at a crossroads with his team, that if he can't deliver, that he's going to look like a failure, and that they're going to struggle. And he's worked his tail off to try and keep everybody employed and keep everybody working towards the end goal, despite working from home in this challenging work environment. But he finds that he is physically sick before he gets on a video call with his team because he feels like a failure. He's supposed to be the cheerleader. He's supposed to be a guy with all the answers. And here he is facing what could potentially be some financial disastrous future for their business. And so as he and I had this conversation, because I called him, I was checking on him, noticed he'd been a little suspiciously quiet on social media, which is what prompted me to reach out to him. And I asked him how I can help him. And he said, you're a coach, and I just need to unburden this. He goes, I don't know if it's guilt. I don't know if it's frustration. I don't know if it's something that I can't even describe, but it's weighing on me so heavily. And he said, so much so that at one point over the past week, I've actually said to myself that I'm worth more to my family and to my company dead than I am alive. Now, I can relate to that because I have actually had those feelings myself in the past, and it's tough and it's challenging and it's scary as hell. so I could relate and understood. And I shared some of those thoughts with him and actually expressed it in a way that really, I think, our relationship went from here to here in a major way. But I shared with him how some of the things that they were doing strategically for the sake of the betterment of the whole company may not necessarily be the right decisions in the short term. And that even though he didn't want to look at furloughing or laying off, that financially that might be the smartest decision, right? Having an open, honest conversation with his executive team, really putting the cards on the table and saying, guys, I wasn't trying to deceive anybody, but I was trying to protect everybody from where we were at. And then this situation came out of the blue that nobody expected. Nobody is going to blame you for because you didn't create the virus. It is what it is. And just having that conversation, you could just see and feel that everything had shifted and changed, that he needed somebody to kick him in the ass and somebody needed to say, look, I'm here to help you, but you also need to look at things realistically. And you need to be willing to set your ego aside and be willing to have open and honest dialogue and conversation. I give that to you mainly because that is four direct examples that just reaching out and saying, hey, was thinking about you, haven't heard from you. I wanted to say hello, see if there's a way that I can help you. This ripple concept that I talk about, and if you see some of my other videos or you follow me on social media, my Twitter handle is @RippleOn, by the way. It is near and dear to my heart, but this is what we need in this world right now. We need caring, compassionate people that will reach out and check on those people that either are suspiciously quiet or people that probably don't have a lot of people checking in on them, and just reach out and say, look, let's get together on a video call. Let's get together on a phone call. Let's have a conversation, because I know that there's a whole bunch of craziness going on right now. And I don't know how you're processing it, but I know it would help me process it by having a conversation with someone as smart or as fun or as engaging as you are. It changes the world. It changes the perspective for that individual to hear from somebody that they probably didn't expect to hear from, that says, hey, look, I care enough to reach out. So that's what I wanted to share today. If you had happened to be on my earlier live feed, I apologize. I'm not sure. When my laptop decided to die, that thing just went out into the nether field. I don't know, but I apologize for that. I appreciate you be willing to check this out wherever this finds you, however it finds you. I plan to do more live. I'm not the best on camera. I don't like myself on camera, but I'm going to force myself to have these conversations in real time. And eventually, when I figure out this whole Ecamm thing and all of the different crazy aspects of what this thing does, then you know what? I tell you what, I will figure out how to. Shit, I don't even know what I just did. I will try and figure out how to make this a little bit more engaging or entertaining or whatever. I don't know. I will see what I can do to make it a little more um, enjoyable to watch me or to have these conversations or these dialogues. But in the interim, I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in, watching this far. If you think that this can help, I think that there'll be definitely an opportunity for this replay to happen. I'm looking down here, but I really should be looking up here. I apologize. I'm trying to figure out how to get myself big again. I don't know. I will figure this out. I promise you. And eventually, I will eventually get this where it is situated in a way that makes sense. Oh, wait. Oh, I just switched cameras. There we go. We're learning all sorts of stuff on the fly. Not that you need to be aware of that, but thanks for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. Check out some of my other videos on YouTube. I'm very big in helping individuals and corporations relate to this process I call Ripple, because I know what a difference it can make. And so until next time, Ripple on. Now I'm ending the broadcast. This is the end of the broadcast day. Not really, but my day broadcasting. So it's the end of that.